She had no gloves. Her fingers, purple from the cold, trembled as she rubbed them together. Beside her, a woman sat with a deep bruise on her arm. Her coat was thin, her eyes full of panic, but the loudest scream came from the silence of the little girl beside her. Oprah was in the backseat of her car, chatting with her manager, when her eyes locked onto the bus stop. A single word left her lips. "Stop." As she stepped out, the cold air slapped her face. The rain hadn't started yet, but there was dampness in the wind, sharp and biting. The woman avoided eye contact. The child, about 8 years old, leaned against her mother's leg. Her shoes were torn at the toes. "Hi there. Do you need help?" Oprah asked softly. The woman didn't respond at first. Oprah crouched down to the girl's level. The child's eyes were like glass, still, distant, unblinking. Finally, the woman whispered, "He might be following us, but I couldn't stay anymore. He's not just hurting me now, he's hurting her too." And just like that, the truth poured out. Oprah's throat tightened. This wasn't just a street scene, it was pain made visible, a mother running, a child hiding, a nightmare in plain sight. "Please, get in my car, you're safe now." Tears welled in the woman's eyes. In her gaze was something primal, trust, not because of who Oprah was, but because survival demands hope. For the first time, she could put the weight down. As Oprah helped them into the car, the traffic outside continued, but inside, time froze. That night, a mother's long, muted scream echoed, not from her mouth, but from the quiet at a bus stop. The car was warm, but Ayla's hands were still shaking. Her daughter said nothing. She rested her head on the side window, staring out in silence. Oprah reached back, handed them a blanket. Ayla immediately wrapped it around Lina's shoulders. "Sweetheart, what's your name?" Oprah asked gently. No response. Ayla finally spoke. "I'm Ayla, and this is my daughter, Lina. We ran away 3 nights ago." That night, he smashed the window and came inside. "I woke up to Lina's scream. He was dragging her in his arms. If I hadn't done something, we wouldn't be here." Her voice cracked. Oprah said nothing. She just listened. Ayla continued, "I went to the police, but the file was closed. The restraining order expired. He was still living in our home. So I walked the streets for 3 nights. Bus stops, hospital lobbies. The shelters were full. I carried Lina on my back. I couldn't even take her socks off to warm her feet." Oprah turned to Lina. The girl was still silent. She clutched her backpack tightly, as if her whole world was stuffed inside. It didn't hold toys or snacks, just the last pieces of safety she could gather. "I'll get you a hotel room, and I'll speak to a lawyer. This isn't going to end like this," Oprah said firmly. Ayla couldn't stop the tears, but for the first time, they weren't tears of fear. There was something else, a flicker of relief. Lina slowly turned her head and looked at Oprah. Her eyes were still distant, but somewhere deep inside, a light still burned. And in that moment, Oprah realized, sometimes a child's silence can scream louder than the noise of the entire world. After checking into the hotel, Ayla went to take a warm shower and left Oprah alone with Lina. The little girl still hadn't said a word. She was curled up in a corner of the room, wrapped in a blanket, holding a worn teddy bear. One of her socks had a hole in the toe. Oprah sat quietly next to her, waiting for the little girl to calm down. She did not reach out her hand or force her to speak. She just preferred to sit in the same silence. A few minutes passed. Then Lina opened her backpack and took out a crumpled old notebook. The pages were stained with water. Some were torn. Oprah watched carefully. Lina opened the notebook and showed it to her. On one page was a scene drawn in shaky stick figures. A woman lying on the ground, a man towering over her with his hands raised. The man was drawn like a monster. A little girl stood next to her, crying, hugging her teddy bear. Oprah felt a pain in her chest. The scene triggered memories of her own childhood, memories she rarely revisited. Lina hadn't spoken, but she had told her everything, and even without telling her some things, this little picture said it all. "You're very brave for drawing this," Oprah said gently, never breaking eye contact. Lina didn't answer, but she slowly held out her teddy bear toward Oprah. Its ear was torn. Just then, Ayla came out of the bathroom and froze at the sight. "That bear, I gave it to her last year on her birthday. That night he tried to rip it from her arms. When she fought back, he threw her down. Lina stopped speaking after that." Oprah stood and walked to the window. Rain had begun to fall outside. Lina was still wrapped in her blanket, but her eyes no longer looked empty. In that moment, Oprah made a promise to herself. This child wouldn't just survive. She would be heard, even if she couldn't speak. She would be protected, even if she couldn't ask. And she would be remembered. The next morning, Oprah met with the lawyers of her foundation. The legal process to document Ayla's case began immediately. Ayla was hesitant at first. The police didn't help before. Why should they help now? The police don't like us and ignore us. But Oprah's voice was firm and resolute. She may have silenced you, but now we're going to talk. That afternoon, Oprah went in front of the cameras. She didn't make a dramatic speech. She just told the truth, plain and strong. Yesterday, I met a mother and daughter at a bus stop. They were invisible. They had nowhere to go. But worse, a system stood by and watched them survive, silently, as spectators, and it's up to us to put a stop to it. The media covered it instantly. Social media exploded. Lina's drawing went viral. Hashtags spread. #, Lina is not alone. Thousands of women started sharing their stories. I was once Lina, some wrote. I ran away like Ayla, others wrote. Long-buried voices were finally heard. But the most important change took place inside Ayla. Sitting with Oprah that evening, she was teary-eyed, but no longer hopeless. I've spent years just trying to survive. I couldn't even give Lina a real childhood. We will, Oprah said, together. Later that night, Oprah returned to the room. Lina had drawn a new picture. 3 people on a bus. Ayla, Lina, and a woman sitting beside them. She looked a lot like Oprah. Below it, a single sentence. The woman who found us. A month had passed. Lina was now attending therapy twice a week. Ayla, on the other hand, was receiving legal and psychological support at a women's solidarity center that Oprah had recommended. Lina, who once didn't speak a single word, now greeted her therapist and hung small drawings on her bedroom window. Their new home was in a quiet neighborhood, part of a secure public housing project. Every morning, Lina would sit by the window, watching the sunlight filter through. And at night, she no longer needed to sleep with the light on. That day, there was a knock at the door. It was Oprah, wearing a simple blouse, holding a bright yellow package in her arms. Ayla greeted her with a warm hug. "This place smells like home," Oprah said, taking a deep breath. "Because you're here," Ayla replied with a smile. Lina ran in, her eyes lighting up at the sight of Oprah. She took the package and sat beside her bed. Inside was a storybook, created from Lina's own drawings. The title, The Invisible Child. Oprah paused when she saw Lina's latest drawing. This time there were 4 figures: Ayla, Lina, Oprah. And in the background, a tall, shadowy figure, drawn and then crossed out. Below the drawing, for the first time, Lina had written something in her own handwriting. "I'm not afraid anymore." Oprah knelt down, meeting Lina's gaze. "You are so strong, Lina, and telling your story, it will light the way for others." That evening, before going on air, Oprah read a line from Lina's book. "I waited a long time in the dark, but someone came, and she left behind her light." There was silence in the studio. Thousands of women watching from home felt seen in that one sentence. Because this story wasn't just about one child's pain, it was the silence of thousands. And that silence was turning into a whisper, that whisper into a scream. Because sometimes a child sitting at a bus stop isn't just waiting. Sometimes the conscience of a society rests in a pair of trembling hands. And when one woman stops, just in time, and truly sees that child, a life is changed forever.